Since no one wants to talk about it, I'm gonna be the one to talk about it. Because something needs to be done at this point. Since when do you go to a supermarket and an 18 count of eggs is $8.99? So you mean to tell me that I gotta give you almost $10 for 18 eggs? And that's not all. Look at the butter. The butter's almost $13. Ain't no one doing anything about it. I think it's time that we somehow gather together and do something about it. How much is milk? $4.99 for a half gallon. My family drinks a lot of orange juice. Let's see how much orange juice. $13. Right. I didn't buy much because I don't have much. Let's see how much I spent. Okay, I bought 4 items. Just 4 items. $30. I spent $30 on 4 items. I spent $30, which leaves me $30 until I get paid next week. And these prices, no one's doing anything to bring down inflation. So, I think it's something we all should talk about. And you can start in the comments. Like, comment, and share. And let's do something about it.
Don't buy the house. Don't buy the car. Don't buy anything right now. Wait. Everything's going to get cheaper. As I have been saying this, many of you have asked how long you need to wait. And a lot of that has to do with who wins the election. So this question here, I'd like to know the best time to buy a house under Trump. I'm going to answer that in this video. If you want to know how long you need to wait under Kamala, drop that in the comments. The one with the most likes, I'll respond to. Trump is a deflationary president. There's 2 different factors with Trump. One, he's going to lower interest rates back to kind of what we're used to. And there's a lot of people that are sitting in their homes right now that don't like their homes and they want to sell their homes, but they're afraid of the high interest rates. The second that low interest rates become a normal thing, there are millions of Americans that are going to sell their homes and the inventory is going to skyrocket. Number 2. He is a deflationary president with fuel. Fuel prices are going to drop because he is going to drill like we have never seen before. That's going to bring grocery prices down, lumber prices down. Everything is going to come down, especially in the first 2 years. If Trump wins the presidency, I'd be thinking at most June of next year is going to be the best time to get into a new house, a new car, whatever you've been looking at buying. And I believe the patience is going to pay off tenfold. Drop in the comments and I'll let you know it's a completely different scenario with Kamala.
So, the RBA jacked rates again. And this is all because inflation is apparently too high. Now, what do we know about inflation? We know that inflation is caused by the costs of goods getting more and more expensive over time. And that can be due to a number of things. It can be demand or supply. Now, we know that this is a supply issue because the world shut down for a couple of years. But there's one entity that continues to throw fuel on the fire. I wonder who it could be. According to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the government in Australia is responsible for a very high percentage of this inflation. So while the government might say, oh, we're doing everything that we can to help the cost of living, they can't help but continue to spend. And what that means is it continues to fuel inflation even further. So next time you hear the government say, oh, we're doing everything we can about inflation, it's they forced the RBA to continue to lift rates, and now we are in the mess that we are in. But you cannot let this defeat you. You need to find a way. There is always a way, whether it be reducing debt or increasing income. Do not let the government win. Do not let them beat you into submission.
You think groceries are bad? Wait until Kamala Harris makes every American trucker drive an electric truck. You think car prices are bad? Wait until Kamala Harris makes everybody buy a Chinese-made electric vehicle. And you think housing prices are bad? Wait until Kamala Harris makes it impossible for our truckers to get construction materials to the house building site. Kamala Harris's policies are a disaster, not just for truckers, but for everybody who relies on them, which is everybody.
Prices for everything has skyrocketed under the Biden administration, and they may go even higher due to his economic policies, as even cheap fast food places like McDonald's have raised their prices so high that it's become unaffordable, with some stores charging $18 for a Big Mac when it was only $4.95 4 years ago. And that's not even the worst of it. Some everyday grocery item prices have quadrupled. For example, the average price of a dozen eggs has gone from $1.20 in 2019 to a staggering $4 $4.82. A lot of this is because of the government's policies, and with all of it added up, it's estimated that the average American household has to spend an additional $11,000 annually just to maintain the same standard of living that they enjoyed 4 years ago. And Biden has tried to address these issues, but his economic policies have only made things worse, like the direct stimulus payments his administration did in 2021, which may have helped people in the short term, but it caused inflation to soar up to near 10%, thus making everything more expensive in the long term.
Proof inflation will ruin us all.
I went to Target yesterday and bought 2 bottles of hair product, a bottle of shampoo, a box of trash bags, and 1 Halloween decoration, $70 on my Target Red card. That's with my 5% discount. My son's looking at the cart and going, Mom, this was $70. We didn't even get anything. Yeah, I know, kid. And he doesn't even remember a time when you could get a 2-bedroom apartment in a decent area of town for $600 a month. Now a 1-bedroom apartment in a mediocre part of town is $2,000 a month. Gas is $5.49 a gallon. It cost me $65 to fill up my tank. Before COVID, my grocery bill per month was $350. Now it's $600 a month, and I buy the exact same amount of groceries. This shit is out of control. What does the bourgeoisie think that the outcome of this is going to be? They cannot possibly believe that extracting every last dime out of the working class by inflating all of the prices and paying us poverty wages is a sustainable economic model. And the thing is that I could be mad at the bourgeoisie all day long, but they are doing exactly what is expected. They are greedy sociopaths. This is what they do. I am more mad at Americans because instead of uniting against this common enemy who is robbing us blind, we are fighting over whether or not drag queens can read books to children. At what point are we going to stop taking this shit lying down, put our foots down, and say, fuck this, and not allow it anymore? We cannot even afford to live in this country. We can't even afford to die in this country. The Republican Party is bought and paid for by the same greedy sociopaths who are robbing you, me, and our families blind every day. They are manipulating you into believing that they are going to save you from the problems that they created in your life. They have not walked a single inch in your working class shoes. They have no idea the struggle that you and I go through every day in this economy just to feed our families and keep them safe. They are gaslighting you into believing that I am your enemy so that you're distracted while they continue to do their dirt behind your back, because they know that if you knew what they were doing, you wouldn't vote for them anymore. Why are you listening to them? The Democratic Party, with the exception of a very small few, is filled with weak and spineless politicians who placate to everyone just so that they can get reelected because they want to maintain some semblance of power in Congress. Why are you placing all of your faith and hope in this party to save us? Your religious leaders are funded by the same corporate sponsors who have bought your politicians, and they are weaponizing your faith against you so that you are distracted by a made-up enemy, your gay neighbor or your liberal coworker, so that you are not paying attention to the extreme financial crimes that they are committing against all of us right under your nose. In the richest country in the world, 500,000 people are homeless when there are more than enough homes to house them, and millions of children are hungry or food insecure, having their one free meal taken away from them at school. 10-year-olds are being forced to bear the child of their rapist. People are rationing their insulin and dying because they cannot afford health care. The water's polluted, the air is polluted, the soil is devoid of nutrients because we have oversaturated it in pesticides. We're not going to be able to grow our own food in the coming decades. The planet is literally dying. And they are putting hotels up in space and telling you that they can't afford to pay you a living wage, and you are believing them. This period is going to go down in the history books as one of the most epic failures that America ever allowed to happen. Future generations are going to study this time in history and ask themselves, why did they not do anything? How could they not see? And if you're sitting behind your phone right now and thinking to yourself, it's not me, it's those goddamn weirdo trans kids, then you are the people that they will be talking about. Wake the fuck up.
Listen, man, I make over 30 an hour. I got a damn good paying job. Listen, If a nigga was to tell me at 18 years old, if a nigga said, yo, Diz, at the age of 36, you're gonna be making over $30 an hour, and you're gonna be struggling, I would have laughed in his fucking face, man. For real. I would have laughed in his face. You couldn't have told me that at 18 years old. I would have thought that I'd be living like a king. I don't live outside my means. When I say I'm struggling, that's just to pay bills and to buy food. Inflation, the economy, everything is fucked up. There's no middle class anymore. We're literally the working poor. You have the working poor, and then you have the filthy, rotten fucking rich. Like, something needs to change. Something needs to give. We can't fucking live like this. This is not a way to live.
How are y'all making it? No, literally, how are y'all making it? Because, little backstory, I decided back in January that I was going to monetize on this app. Every dollar I made, no matter how big, how small, was going to go to a savings account, and that was going to be money for a down payment on our house. Because if you don't know, me, my husband, and our 2 kids are living with my parents. Spoiler alert, that's not happening. We're having to take that money I'm making and use it to get by until the next week, on top of my husband's income. My husband's making the most money he's ever made, and this is the brokest we've ever been. Make it make sense. I'm not a bougie bitch. I might get my lashes done, but my friends do my hair. I don't get my nails done. Like, I'm really not that high maintenance. We try to live within our means. We truly do. It's like, no matter how much you don't go out to eat, no matter how much you don't spend money, you're still gonna be broke. Why? Because that is the world that we live in. So I know I'm not as educated as I should be when it comes to voting. All I know is that shit was a lot better 4 years ago. I could afford to breathe, and I had my own house. Right now, nobody can afford housing. Nobody can afford food. And if you can, congratulations, because you're far and few. So please, please, for the love of God, take that into consideration come November and make a change. Because I am tired. I am tired of living like this.